Hello and welcome. Today's date is the completion of the 13th day of May 2020. My name is Derek. This is the Money Charts channel where, like always, all bets, trades, and of the like within each's own risk and their own reward. All right. The last time I did a Bitcoin video would have been somewhere back in here. It was around 4:30 p.m. So back in here. And I mean, it was just luck, I suppose, that price action came up to this level and has done what it's done, piercing higher above a key Fibonacci level at over around 9,330. And for its time, it has been congesting its entire duration so far. Well, we've had heavy short-term support 3x hit at 9,277. And even more touches in the area of around 9,300 low change, now at 9,315. An opportunity for it to break down below the 18 average of lows here, not so maybe, as it had a successful correctionary move, thus a failed breakdown. Then it had an opportunity to break the 18 average of highs here at 20 hours, failed. Still within its correctionary phase with, of course, the support test. And the sideways move. But anyway, as it goes, we look at this on the hourly term time frame. And even for that matter, let's look at situations or of just understanding how can you play these numbers if they were to work, or just understanding strategies. And whatever strategies you decide to do is what you decide to do. And what you get out of this, I mean, it's whatever you get out of it. I a lot of times don't even know and really... I guess like I do actually kind of care, but I'm curious again, just for the stuff. Anyway, throwing that aside, when you know that this is a potential area of resistance as a price target, that means that's an opportunity where you can buy lower than that price and sell at that price. So you have to find opportunities, and the lower the better, where you can get in and buy. And you know at that time that that's the level it would be going towards. You can see in here that as it broke this level of resistance, that would have been one opportunity. In this case, it would have worked. You're going to be hit with failed moves at times. And when that's the case, of course, that's just what will happen. And you even had a late opportunity in here as well as potential. Even going further, if we look at this on the 15-minute term time frame, is there any indications towards this? And I didn't want to draw this. I actually want to scroll this thing back like this. Because in this situation, what you had from a low is a situation where it established this level of resistance, and then it was going into correctionary phase. It had some periods where it played within the 18 average of highs, but ultimately unable to make a move higher. When making the move lower, it successfully, on multiple occasions, supported this 18 average of lows. So when you're seeing positive progressions in here, you're seeing reasons. Well, the hold from the big move to here is looking good. You're seeing even signals here as it was breaking from the 18, and obviously, as long as you didn't get stopped there on a play like that, and then you get to the stage of here, this is the interesting spot. What do you do here? Do you buy in a spot like this? You realize that you're now at a level of key resistance, and yeah, maybe it can go a little bit higher, but that's not much higher. I mean, is it going to potentially break? Do you go for the better price? And for those answers, I'm really not too sure here, but I know one thing that I'm thinking: if you wait for the better price, who cares if you buy here if it comes back to 88.30 or 88.36, and then it just goes to, of course, where it does. As you can see, its correction came through in here. A little bit of a failed short-term breakout. But when you see how you have this situation, it's supposed to break out here at 1,300 hours. And when you see a move like that and quickly reject down the lows, that can be this little move in here can be a lot to like trigger at least a move down to previous lows down towards here. But you see in this spot how it holds this move in correctionary phase successful. There's that little scare move. Does it get you? Does it hold? But overall, it had to break below the lows, but can it hold its support area? The big move is it breaks down below, establish that low, not too deep, definitely not even close here. And of course, it successfully was able to do such. We can see in here at this stage that you had support at resistance. So you're seeing break of this, move to the next. So even when you're looking this at 89, you can see how getting a move to 93 can work out. And then if not, you're in a situation where you're seeing the congestion. So if you bought, you could be just waiting. That's just how part of the game would go. Did you get stopped out on here? I'm sure a lot of people playing the strategy may have, and a lot of other people won't. And that depends on how you come in the market. There you see how it's breaking out. And all the time, again, as I mentioned, even still in here, just looking back, you see situation like this. Here is it going down below the lows. After this red candle done, you have an instant nice green to the lows. And then 2 Winston candles below that makes it to the highs, and then it corrects it extremely well. And then you look for the patterns of things like that, and then it doesn't become a surprise that, oh, there's your nice little breakout, and you can say maybe this is the opportunity to buy. You want to see when you see the momentum that it's going to go, and maybe you're looking for the good volume like you see here, and there you have your move. And as I was mentioning before, as it was going higher, I was like, okay, you probably are going to know that that's going to be the target level. So why do you want to sell here? You see that this successfully correct. Why would you have any type of stop below this line or even below this line here at 9,020? And even for that matter, with this 89 handle. And then you see how you're making the move. And even up here, oh, it's price actions at 92.75. I'm just going to sell. And I mean, sure, you're going to profit. But mathematically, is that the right play? If you're doing any type of moves like that. It just seems to me, I don't know why, but these levels always pierce extra. So now you have whatever sell order piercing higher. And you can see that as long as they were relatively conservative, and a lot of times the number I mentioned in the last video, it would have definitely hit, you would have got an order in, and then you just wait for another opportunity when something like that is to come in. And this is just short term. I'm not going to say nonsense because I don't think it is, but it's just a lot of interesting things along the way. It has been an interesting day when it comes down to it. I'd like to see further stuff, but it does feel to me with the video that I made called like the last call, I'd be very surprised, and I hope I'm wrong with the gold and silver market side of it, but I probably, unfortunately, won't be, that the prices are just going to really escalate amongst all three as we move in the next several months. And it's going to be very interesting for a lot of the cryptos that are in the altcoin sector. I'm not going to show any of this video, but you get the idea when we're talking about monstrous moves. A move to 20K right now, or previous high, is pretty much, especially a pierce below previous, or not 20, is a 2x, or 100%. If it goes to 100,000, that would be a 10x move from here, and with about a 30x move from this low. And that's good gains, but as I mentioned with dartboard rallies, that's a situation in which altcoins overperform Bitcoin. During this primary time in here, all of this time up to March, early March, which would be right in here, that's when it was at previous high. Well, the altcoins were not doing so well, for the most part, against Bitcoin. Now, some beforehand, like Dash, did pretty good to start off. But that was only some of them. And then during this run to this high, and there were many volatile up and down moves along the way, and a birth of Bitcoin Cash in the middle. And during that time, altcoins dominated against Bitcoin when Bitcoin went from 1,000 to 20,000. A 20x move on a break of resistance. If there was another 20x move on a break of resistance, it would be 400,000. So whatever targets can come up, there's just so many different levels, small, medium, and large. And I don't know if 20x is large because it kind of is a good leg higher here. But you could be talking maybe 500, 600. And I do believe final price for all assets that will succeed over that of the fiat currency. Meaning, things like Bitcoin will be priced against other things, maybe things like gold. And there'll be a price. Oh, and when history books look back, yeah, Bitcoin got up to this price against the dollar. And then the dollar really wasn't used. I mean, they just didn't trade it as much anymore. I mean, you'd rather trade against things like gold. I mean, and then gold had its final price of this, and silver had its final price of this. I truly believe that's going to be the case. And what the history books are going to write about these times, I think are going to be very, very interesting. Okay, I didn't plan on going over that venture other than the fact about the moves to big levels and the fact that altcoins are going to do better. I did plan on talking about that. And in such, you could be talking about like coins, like even Theta. I mentioned like it's like 15 cents now, maybe 16 cents. I don't. Well, I do know it's 17 something cents times 9.32 because of I take the number I take the Satoshi price and I multiply it by Bitcoin, and it's about 1,700 something Satoshi. But that's a coin that can go to $1, and maybe it can go to 10, and well, if it goes to 10, that would be a 15x gain. But a 15x gain from here on Bitcoin would be like 150,000. So we could see stuff like Bitcoin go to 150,000 and Theta's 155 or 200 or some things, sick things like that. I mean, it's already sick enough to say that, oh, down back in here, Bitcoin was $4, and there's data even before that. I can remember Bitcoin at $1, and I remember crashing to 1 cent. Yeah, Bitcoin has died several times and recovered so much. So it's got that history to it. Just something to keep in mind that it's part of the volatility. And then this quick run, again, that happened. Just trying to move this over like this just so I can see more candles and look at the years and times. But this thing gets going in June of 2012 from a low of a little over $5. And then its leg higher is April of the next year, not quite a year, but almost, to a high of over 250. 5 to 250. It's 40x when you divide the high number by the low. And then you go from 250 one high to the next high of 1100. There's another 5x on top of that. Almost. 4.5x. And the times of those moves, I mean, this was just a short period of time. You have 4 months or so, 5 months where it consolidates this high. And then the final big moves happen like just the large structures. That's just normal market behavior to do, where the final move to a key high can oftentimes be fast and furious. Was that the case in 2017? In this case, you could say they evened out. I mean, it just never stopped. Because when you compare this candle, 70%, this one was 65, this one was 54. I mean, this one was higher with the move higher, but 40%, and even, the high was 20, so it was up 100% at one point. Because if it opened at 99.27 and it high'd at 19.666, it was 100%. But this 50, so you could kind of say like in that it was. If I look at it this via a quarterly term time frame, I'm not going to get too much for data. But you can again see in here just that one big green candle move here, and yeah, just 3 consistent green size moves, each one bigger than the next one. Well, sort of, not really, but the last one, 220%. This one was 130. This one was 75. I mean, consecutive quarters, 130, 75, and 220. And that was after it already was at like, already had like a 5x move just from this low. And it took a long time to get there, but that's the whole point. I mean, look how long it's been just during this, what has been on the quarterly, a correctionary phase. What's a technical analysis if we start to see this thing go to like 14,000, 15,000? What would I say in terms? I'd be using a word that I made up called excitation of the 18 average of highs. And that's a pretty powerful setup when you see something like this, because even though you can't see the 18 beforehand, you can see that this entire high would have been in its correctionary mode in here. It would have had an up run. The 18 would have found support at the 18 average of lows here on this January session. So you were correcting this move. You would have seen all of this evidence in here starting April quarter of 2016. how it holds the hold month. It was a hold of a hold, really, because this quarter was a hold of the green move before. And then you had continuation of this hold to this hold. Wow, that's fantastic. And that's where when you're seeing before the powerful setup that was going on beforehand, and it was doing so when you used it within the 18 highs, using understanding how this works with the key previous point and what the key move came from. And then the setup, of course, had a great play. So now the setup doesn't get good on this time frame until we get exitation of the 18 highs. So if we're looking for long-term validation of this move, then I really need to see this thing clearly get above, like really get to 16,000-ish or so, which is pretty much previous highs. And when clear, another way of looking at it, when clear consents break of resistance, which is this level in here, these resistance from April and the July quarters in here, these 2 points from 2019. When the clear breakout is pretty much this high, like that tiny pierce below, oh, that's just a powerful setup. That's one way of showing me that it corrected the move really well, and it resisted a high level. Again, this is a case of it retracing much greater than 61%. And I mean that as in, well, the entire move that, let me just go to it. Yeah, so this high in here was greater than, it wasn't this, like for example, if it would have resisted, say 93 and not 13, and then had its correctionary move after that, and then break out from that established resistance, then it would have done so decently below previous high. But no, not anymore. So in that thinking, I wouldn't be shocked if we see little resistance here on a potential break. I'd still be expecting it to be more favored to come up to 1900 than maybe pull back to 13, or at least pull back to 19 and maybe consolidate and congest, which maybe means supporting 16 and resisting like 22 or 23, something like that. That I think would be, I don't know though. I mean, with all the fundamental news and all the stuff that I'm talking about, I mean, that last call, this could be very interesting. And on this daily chart, right now, as what we've seen in here, it's been in a very bullish run. And because we've seen a good leg higher here, we've had a correctionary move. In a bull market, you don't know sometimes how many higher highs and higher lows. You can say something's up too much, and it will be until it's not, if it is. It's almost like if something's due to happen. Well, it's due until it's not. And that's why I've been thinking about silver for like 5 or 6 years. Because it was like, 2014, 2015, look how long it's been since silver was up. Look how much it's went down. Okay, 2016, 17, 18, still do. 2019, still do. So anything, especially with silver, when you look at the 1980 highs and think, 1990, it's like way lower. Well, it took 15 years after that to start going up. So, I mean, you could be if you're going to wait, and you've already waiting a while, sometimes you could wait a while more. With that being said in here, if it does break above this level of resistance, you're seeing great correctionary phase play. And you'd be seeing high probability, I would suppose, or I would look, I mean, more times than not, I definitely suppose it's high, yeah, for sure, high probability of breaking this level where, who knows, just like what that mentioned with the 20, same sort of deal here. You might not face much resistance. It might only come back to this 93 handle now. Or do that same congestion. And then it might just break above it immediately and then fast move to like 11, 12, 13. Okay, that was the continuation video. Have yourself a great day. Bye-bye.